Arizona's governor argues her state must act because the feds have failed to stop the flow of illegals and drugs out of Mexico into Arizona. Some opponents now demanding a boycott of the state. We're just getting some images of vandalism prompted by the law. It's hard to read in this picture, but it says, "Burn this racist city." Only blocks from where the protests were held over the capital city in the weekend in Phoenix. Others are even threatening lawsuits. Our next guests have a whole lot at stake in this debate. Francisco Hernandez is an immigration attorney. He doesn't like the bill. He thinks it'll go down with a constitutional challenge. Paul Babu is the sheriff of Pinal County in Arizona. Good morning to both you gentlemen. Sheriff, I'm curious to know, have you had the chance or have you instructed your officers on how they are required to carry out this law?
Well, already we're doing that each and every day. We do not profile. A third of my staff are Hispanic, Latino, and we go out there and build in every call, in every case, reasonable suspicion and probable cause, whether there's law enforcement action or if it's a civil matter or there's no action.
So that conversation has already begun. Will any of what you're telling your officers today change, say, come midsummer, July, when this law was implemented?
Well, we'll reinforce that. Here we trust our law enforcement officers all across America with this awesome power to actually suspend somebody's constitutional rights and freedom just to arrest a citizen or even lawfully to take somebody's life. And yet here we have this debate that our police officers in America, in Arizona specifically, can't put those building blocks into place to build that reasonable suspicion and probable cause to take action.
The way you explained this, it sounds rather reasonable. Mr. Hernandez, what's wrong with this?
Well, it is amazing to me that the esteemed sheriff would admit that he feels it's okay to suspend somebody's constitutional rights. There's a term that my immigration and customs officials friends use for this type of activity, is MOAD, Mexicans Out After Dark. Really, clearly the sheriff's admitting that what he's been doing for years has been illegal. Otherwise, why would they need to change the law? Why would they need to implement the law?
Absolutely not. Okay, Sheriff, what about that? Is he making a claim that's true or not?
Absolutely not. I had two deputies, Miller and Tabor, just last night, and CNN was in tow, and they had stopped a car for speeding, and the driver exited the vehicle, which officers always see as very scary on a traffic stop, made contact with the deputy. The trunk had opened when the car had stopped, which is also another alert, and made contact with the deputy and said, "Hey, I'm just getting direction." He pulled into somebody's driveway. The driver then ran, fled on foot. The deputy made contact with the car. There were 9 people in the car, including 2 people in the trunk. Now, that's called building blocks to reasonable suspicion that probably something's going on here. And all of us.
That's not the point we're trying to avoid, is the fact that you're going to be suspending citizens' constitutional rights. But it misses the bigger picture that it's about time that our federal government do something.
Before you make that point, sir, what is constitutional about a person who is unable to prove that they're in the country legally?
Oh, listen, first of all, no matter who you are, if you're in this country, you're entitled to your constitutional protections. My most conservative friends would certainly tell you that. But the point of the matter is we're not trying to protect a certain class of people who may be violating the law. Is the fact that the sheriff is implementing the law, implementing his own version of the law. But that's not the point we're bringing here. All this frustration that you're seeing from both sides of the issue is that we've got to do something. First of all, immigration issue is not a criminal issue or a terrorism issue. It is a jobs issue. It is an economic issue. As long as there are jobs, they're going to come. If you'll remember, a few years ago, everybody thought that building the wall was going to solve the problem and solve the problem with drugs. Then everybody spent billions of dollars on this, what do they call it, virtual fence.
It was millions, and in fact, it's not even completed just yet. You raise a number of interesting points that are to be debated starting today and going forward. Sheriff, I know you want to jump in on this, but I just want to make this point. What the governor is arguing in Arizona, she thinks this is all just huff and blather at this point. She thinks once the law is enacted that everybody will see that it can be fairly implemented and it can be carried out for lack of guidance from Washington. Now, before the 1st of July rolls around, Sheriff, would you expect the federal government to act which would make this law null and void?
I hope so. Senator McCain and Kyle have both proposed even sending 3,000 soldiers to the border to stop the flow of illegal immigrants. And law enforcement, sheriffs and police chiefs wouldn't be asking for this unless we could handle this ourselves, and we can't. crime is off the chart, that this is the kidnap capital of America right here, that we've had numerous officers who have been killed, not by the majority of illegals who just want to work here, but there's 17% who have a criminal record already in our state. And this is where, respectfully, Mr. Rodriguez, that you don't live here in Arizona.
Hernandez.
We have the,
It's the same,
Hernandez, I'm sorry. We have the overwhelming effect of crime here in our state. It's the number one
give
state
Francisco
for
Hernandez
officer
the final word.
I agree with the sheriff 100% on that point. Most of the people here are just trying to work, so I'm on the same side as you are on that, Sheriff. I think you're right.
Okay, let's leave it there.
That's not our debate. Our debate is to protect our citizens and our families, and crime is off the chart here, and we need help.
And that's where we'll pick up the debate tomorrow. Francisco Hernandez, thank you. Sheriff Paul Bebu, thank you, from Pinal County
Thank you.
in Arizona. Thank you.